Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to begin this post-game recap by saying I am officially taking applications for who wants to take over Jay's Trident podcast because I don't think there's any way I'm going to survive 162 with these. I can't do it. My heart is not going to make it. Oh, what is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners get a huge win, 6-5, to salvage a game in this 3-game set versus Kansas City. They improved to 37-30 on the year. And thanks to Texas losing, we'll see what happens with Houston later today. The Mariners will have a 5-game lead over the Rangers and either 5.5 or 6.5 over the Astros. So all in all, despite all the frustrations of this series, and there was plenty of it, I don't even know how you got out of that series with a win. You know, it's weird. I don't know how the Mariners won a game in that series. I also don't know how the Mariners didn't win that series. Crazy. And before I dive any further, do me a favor, smash the like button, helps out tremendously. Hit subscribe if you're new. Comment your thoughts on that game down below. But anyways, going back to what I was going to say, you know, all things considered, as frustrating as this series was and as gut-wrenching as today was, even though with the win, just the way it happened in the ninth inning and everything, Texas did not gain any ground on you, and Houston might gain one game, depending on what happens here with the Angels. Not the worst result overall. And I get it, the Mariners could have extended their lead, and that would have been great. But the Mariners are playing a much better team than Texas and Houston is playing. Houston's playing the Angels. They need to make up ground when they play the Angels. Texas is playing a fairly mediocre Giants team. They need to win that series and make up ground. It's those teams that have to make up the ground. Now, I'm not saying the Mariners shouldn't be winning series and getting sweeps and pushing themselves further out. That would be great. But the onus falls on those teams to make up the ground. So at the end of the day, despite as much as I am so grateful to be leaving Kansas City, not the worst thing possible in this series. And nice to get a W today. I always say it, when you can salvage a game in a series, that plane ride's a little bit better going home for the Mariners. They're happy there. You know, you come back home, you're facing a poor White Sox team that does have some decent pitching that's going in this series. So not going to be never easy, you know, in professional sports, but you can breathe a little bit easier. A little bit of pressure taken off for tomorrow. So, like I said, Mariners find a way to win this one. Boy, Kansas City. Oh, and you know the Mariners, if the Mariners get to the playoffs, they're playing Kansas City. There's no way you're not, right? Like it's scripted that way. The baseball gods will not allow the Mariners to not have to play the Royals again. Um, I just don't get it in that ballpark. I mean, Friday night obviously was just a disaster. Yesterday even had some of it. Despite losing by 4 runs, the Mariners were leading that game going to the bottom of the 5th. Not that the bottom of the 5th is like, oh, this game should be over or anything, but they even had a lead there with Castillo on the mound. Then today, you know, up 3-1 with 1 out to go. And it's not Bobby Witt that did it today. It's Nick Lofton and MJ Melendez that get you in that 9th inning. I mean, and then in the 10th, thank goodness the Mariners scored 3, because I'm sitting there going, 1 is not going to be enough. I didn't even know if 3 almost wasn't. And then Hunter Renfroe hits a 2-run home run. And then Isbell gets the base hit. Thank goodness you get Garcia, Witt, and Pasquantino out to finish it off. But I mean, my goodness, this Royals team, just especially at home, just relentless. I'm not going to say it again about wanting to play the Yankees and all those teams more, but oh, get me out of Kansas City. But the Mariners do find a way to get the win. Do want to talk a little bit about the last couple innings and Scott's decision. Then I'll get into the box score and the lineup a little bit. Then I'm going to head out of here. Tomorrow morning, me and Mariner Sir, we're going to record it tonight, but we'll have our sort of weekly recap up. We'll maybe dive into a few more things as well. But Scott Service went, the Mariners were up 3-1 in the 8th inning, and it was Isbell, Garcia, and Bobby Witt Jr. due up. Scott Service went to Andres Munoz in that spot. And you guys can disagree with me. It's totally fine. Listen, Mariners won. Let's be happy about a win. I thought what Scott did was fine. I didn't have an issue with how he managed this game in the back end of the bullpen. I just didn't. You brought in Munoz to face Bobby Witt Jr. in a spot where Witt was due up 3rd, and you have to face 3 batters as a pitcher. And look what happened. Isbell was out by an inch on a ground out. Garcia was out by a half an inch on a ground out. Maybe reverse. I think Isbell was closer than Garcia. Both were so close to infield hits, which again, like just Kansas City will not go away. And it took a great play by Bliss and Locklear. We'll get into my man Tyler Locklear here in a second. What a debut for him. But it took 2 amazing plays to avoid Bobby Witt coming on with 2 on and nobody out. What if you had gone to Bauman or Voth in the 8th? And what if they were safe? Not any fault of Voth or Bauman in that situation if they would have reached. But who would you rather have facing Bobby Witt with 2 on and nobody out? Munoz. Now, luckily, those guys were out on those plays, and Munoz got to face Witt with 2 outs and nobody on. Much better scenario, because even if he homers there, you're still in the lead. But I get going to Munoz in that spot. I absolutely do, and I think it was the right decision. You can disagree with me. It's totally fine. I don't think it's not debatable or anything like that. I just think that was the right call based on what could have happened there with Witt. So Mike Baumann comes in the 9th inning. Stanek not available. Sounds like Thornton wasn't available. So you're going to Mike Baumann to get the save in that spot. Actually gets Pasquantino to strike out. He gets Salvador Perez to strike out. Those are the guys you should be worried about in that spot. Those are good hitters. Those are the guys I'm most nervous about facing in that situation. Then Nick Lofton, who has just been a pest for the Mariners this series, lines a double. And MJ Melendez, guys, Nick Lofton and MJ Melendez are not very good hitters. Baumann should be able to get them out. Hangs a cutter. Melendez hits one out, just like he did against Miller on Friday. Well, Jay, they should have gone to Sauce versus Melendez. Fine, but then they're going to pinch hit Nelson Velasquez for Melendez. So would you rather have Baumann versus Melendez or Sauce versus Velasquez? I don't know. I think you could make an argument either way. Velasquez has been a pest to the Mariners too. So I don't know what the better option is there. But I feel like you're that's kind of grasping at straws a little bit in that situation. I didn't have a problem with it. It's just one, Kansas City just won't die. And honestly, there's a part of me that's convinced you could have done it whatever way. You could have left Munoz in for the 9th, and I think the Royals would have tied it there. Sometimes it's just like, it feels like destiny that you're going to blow a lead or something like that. But I didn't have a huge problem with it. The main issue, this team needs another bullpen arm. That's, to me, really the problem. If you want to get to the root of the problem, this team just doesn't have enough arms out there. There's only so much Munoz can do for you. Bauman's been pretty good since coming over. They got to him today. Stanek's been solid, but has had moments where he's just not that fireman lights out reliever. Voth, same thing. Voth comes in the 10th, gives up the home run to Renfroe. Voth's been pretty good. But it's just you need one more kind of lockdown guy. Don't really care who it is. Don't care if it's Austin Adams, Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech, Justin Lawrence. I don't know if Lawrence is playing or healthy right now for Kansas City, or not Kansas City, Colorado. Who else is out there? The Rays have a bunch of relievers. Urseg from Oakland. I never bring up Mason Miller in these because, guys, you're not getting Mason Miller. You're just not. The A's are going to ask for the farm, and I'm not doing that for a reliever. I'm just not. If you want to trade the farm, do it for a hitter, not for a reliever. So I never mentioned Mason Miller because I just don't think there's any way that happens. Would love it. Mason Miller's fantastic. It would be a lights out addition. And even if they sold the farm for it, I'd be pumped to have Mason Miller. But I just don't think it would be smart to trade what I'm sure the A's are going to ask for Miller. You're much more likely to get Adams, Urseg, or someone like that from Oakland. That's the issue. The team needs another reliever. They just don't have enough arms down there. Whether it's the 8th or 9th, you just don't have enough guys covering it. And Spire's out. And the good news is, sounds like Gregory Santos is getting closer. He was touching 95 in a bullpen session against Oakland. So I'm thinking maybe a rehab assignment soon. That would be a huge addition because that's going to help you out in games like this where, again, maybe you do want Munoz to face Bobby Witt, and then you go to Santos in the 9th. So that's my take on it. I just, again, I don't think it's like not debatable. I'm not telling you guys you can't disagree with this. If you do, that's fine. I think there are other ways to manage it. I just don't think for the flack I see it getting, it was really that bad of a decision. And it's probably what I would have done as well in that spot. And like I said, you could debate both Baumann, but they're kind of the same guys at this point. And then in the 10th inning, it looked like the Mariners weren't going to get the run. I think Bliss bunted. The MLB TV didn't come back in time. So let me actually see. MLB TV did that a lot today. If you guys have MLB TV, they came back to a lot of at-bats in the middle of innings. So in the 10th. Yeah, so honestly, if you want to criticize Scott, I think having Ryan Bliss bunt in that spot in the 10th inning is actually more egregious than the bullpen decisions. Now, the Mariners ended up getting 3 runs. Great, and they held on. But, man, when you're bunting, you're playing for a run. If the game was tied at home, no problem with that. Man, against this Royals team, there's no way I'm thinking 4 is enough to beat them with a runner at second. With their speed, with their ability to hit the ball, put the ball in play, there's no way that would have been enough. Now, I get it. Bliss still hasn't proven himself to be like a great major league hitter yet. He's shown some good flashes. So I can understand wanting to get a productive out of that. And you know what? I shouldn't go too much into it. I didn't see the play. So maybe you guys can tell me, was he trying to bunt for a hit? MLB.com says it was a sacrifice. So usually they'll put bunt grounds out when he's trying to bunt for a hit. So if I'm wrong in that, please correct me. And I should have gone back and watched it before doing a rant on it. And again, I don't think it's like the worst thing ever. I'd probably let him swing away against this Royals team. And then JP strikes out, so you've got a runner at third with 2 down. Rojas almost gets picked off on third base. Truthfully, had the ump called Rojas out, I think the call would have stood. I think that was just an issue of the call in the field stands. It was too bang bang, I think, to overturn. And I think that's why that call stood on Rojas being safe at third base. So the Mariners I don't want to say they caught a break because I don't think it was clear that he was out. But had the third base ump, who looked like he was about to punched him out, I think it would have stood. I don't think you score a run there, and then you're not winning that game. Julio with a huge clutch base hit to make it 4-3. And then the absolutely much needed extra 2 runs on the Cal Raleigh single. Nice game from Cal. Huge to get that, because even 4-3, I'm like, you ain't winning this with 4 against Kansas City. Even 6, like I said, I was like, I'd prefer 13 or 14 runs to be assured there, but the Mariners do find a way. And then in the bottom of the 10th inning, like I said, Hunter Renfroe, it's a 2-run home run. Isbell gets one of his hits that just dribbles through on the left side, and his speed's on the bases. Or then they have Blanco pinch run. That's how dang fast the Royals are. They can have Isbell be pinch ran for by Darian Blanco. Garcia hits what might have been a double play ball, but he runs so well, he beats it out. And then I think it was the Bobby Witt fly ball. I thought for sure Luke Raley was going to drop that. Like in the sun, the way he was shielding himself for the whole time. I made a joke on Twitter, like even the sun is against the Mariners in this series. Even Mother Nature has attacked us. But he makes the catch, and then Sauce gets past Quintino to ground out. So, Mariners get it done. Get it done, guys. This is going to be this season. This is a team that plays close baseball games. They're going to continue to play close games. There's going to be a lot of these. It is going to be a dogfight to get through this season. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a blast doing it. But man, it is, get ready for more of these. And listen, I know, like, the heart, it's tough on it. And it is. Like, I'm still kind of like catching my breath from that game. And there's 95 more of these to go. But the alternative is the 2008 Mariners, the 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, when the season was over by this point. And yes, it wasn't stressful, but was it fun? No, it wasn't fun at all. So give me this any day of the week. I am enjoying this season so far. It's been a lot of fun. And part of it's thanks to you guys, the community that we've kind of created here. It makes it more fun. But stressful, yes, but worth it, I think. We'll find out at the end of the year. George Kirby was fantastic today. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 4 Ks. Even the run the Royals scored. A couple kind of bloop hits fell in there. And then Isbell with the kind of squeeze bunt for a hit that got the run in. Kirby was fantastic. I thought this was going to be a really tough lineup for George Kirby, and he pitched extremely well against them. Kirby's been really dialed in his last few starts. I think his last 3 against Houston, Oakland, and Kansas City. Huge. Needed it too. Bryce Miller struggled on Friday. Castillo, I thought, was better than Miller, but still not great yesterday. And you needed a big start today. And George Kirby absolutely gave it to you. Fantastic outing from George Kirby today. Great outing. Munoz had the shutout 8th inning. I didn't think he had his best stuff as well, but he got a shutout inning. And truthfully, the balls put in play were extremely weak contact that just almost were beat out because you've got good speed with Isbell and Garcia. And then he strikes out Bobby Witt with just a painted 97 fastball bottom of the zone. Beautiful pitch. I thought the location on a couple of the sliders didn't look quite as good from Munoz. Again, Munoz not being at his best is still an elite reliever. That shows how good Munoz is. I didn't think he was at his best today and got the job done. And I know some people going back to my point about Munoz and then the bullpen decisions. Well, Munoz should have pitched the 9th because he only threw 15 pitches. Actually threw more pitches than I thought. I thought he threw like 9 or 10. Couple things on that. First of all, this is Munoz's first game back from missing a few games with the back soreness. I don't know if on June 9th or 8th or whatever today is, you want to push that. And I get it. This series has been frustrating. You want to find a way to get a win. But this is where, like, I think a coaching staff has to be less emotional than a fan is in these instances. Yes, I'm sure deep down Scott's probably sitting there going, man, could I get one more out of Munoz? Could I do it? But on June 9th, for a guy coming off an injury, I just don't think it's worth it. I know in September, if you're a game up in the division, you're playing Texas, and it's similar situation, yeah, I'm probably putting Munoz back out there for one more. I probably am doing it. It's probably worth it at that spot. Right now, though, I don't think a 6-out save is necessarily the best idea. I mean, it might have been the best way to win the game. Let me be clear, but I don't know if, one win is not worth losing Munoz, possibly, I guess, is the long way I'm trying to say that there. Baumann actually strikes out the side. Part of me just wants to chalk up Bauman's outing to Royals voodoo magic that just cannot be stopped. Like, I'm not even that mad at Baumann. I mean, the cutter was awful to Melendez right in the middle of the plate. I'd said on Twitter, I'm like, it's the most obvious 2-run home run yesterday. And you guys know I'm about as positive as it gets when it comes to this team. I predict them to win the division. I think they can win a World Series. They need to make some improvements to the roster, but I think it is out there for them to do it, and I think they can. And even during this series, was like, Melendez is homering here. It's never been more obvious. And he did. Not me trying to be negative, just that's how this series was versus the Royals. It was just unreal. I'm not even sure if Baumann did anything wrong or just the baseball gods grooved that cutter in there to Melendez for him. Struck out Pasquantino, got a bit of a benefit of the doubt on that strike 3 call, but the ball 1 to Pasquantino was a strike. So then a perfect pitch to get Perez, struck him out on a cutter that dipped out of the zone. Lofton gets one into the gap, and then Melendez hits the home run. Then he does strike out Freddie Fermin to get out of the inning. Again, obviously, listen, all jokes aside about Royals voodoo magic, which I don't know if I am joking that much about it, but no, pitch to Melendez has got to be better from Baumann. It does. So I can't say it's a good outing. Did strike out the side. Just evidence they need another reliever. Kind of the same thing with Austin Voth's outing. Now, listen, the runner at second, obviously not his fault. But, Hunter Renfroe, not a very good hitter. Got to get him out there. There was actually a part of me that was kind of like, okay, base is clear. Let's just start fresh here. I'm just picturing that it's old school baseball. There's no ghost runner, and it's 6-5 going to the bottom of the 10th. That's kind of how I took that. And then Taylor Saucedo. Man, Sauce got 2 1-out saves this series, and they were huge. Huge. If he doesn't get those, the Mariners go 1-5 on this road trip. Instead, they go 3-3. So Sauce didn't throw a lot of pitches, but man, did he get a couple important outs for the Mariners on this road trip. Listen, box offense. Offense had a nice series here in Kansas City. They scored a total of 9, 15, 19 runs in 3 games. The Mariners offense showed up. It's been a rarity for us to talk about the pitching letting the offense down, but that's kind of what it was in game 1 and game 3 here a little bit, certainly more the bullpen than the starters in this game. And, they did a nice job. I actually didn't even think they did that bad against Cole Reagans. I know 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk doesn't look amazing. Listen, not every offensive struggle against a starter is created equal. Cole Reagans is really good, and he's actually better than that 3.21 ERA. He is lights out. Thank you, Texas, for shipping him to Kansas City. Frustrating this series, but down the road in the AL West, very good chance he would have been in the division. Imagine Texas with him. And they got a Aroldis Chapman for him. Now, Rangers won a World Series. Coming, I talked about the other day, making trades. Listen, put some errors over the top. I can sleep a little easier knowing you traded away a stud if you get that World Series ring. So it is what it is. But very glad Reagans is not in the AL West anymore. But I thought they had some decent at-bats. JP hits the leadoff home run. This is not the same as being shut down by Griffin Canning and Joey Estes in Oakland. This is different. Reagans is really good. The Mariners offense could be really good. It could be top 5 in baseball, and a guy like Cole Reagans will shut you down. So not really too upset about it. I mean, yes, it would have been nice to get a couple more runs off him for sure. But then they did hit the bullpen. So, listen, they got the one off of Reagans. Kirby matched them the rest of the way. Wasn't too upset about it overall. JP Crawford, 2 for 5 with the home run, OPS over 700. Outside of a really sluggish start this year, JP has been really, really dialed in. Tough at bat in the 10th inning. You want to get that run in there, but overall pretty good day for JP. Dylan Moore was 1 for 4. Had the double after JP. JP also had a line out that was caught by, I think, Renfroe in the 6th inning. I believe it was the 6th or the 7th. So chance JP could have had 3 hits today. Dylan Moore had the double and a walk. Nice game for Demo. His walk was huge. Gave Julio a chance to swing the bat in the 10th inning. Proves to be, actually does not prove to be the game winner, but Julio gets the Mariners the lead in the 10th inning. So not a bad game at all for Dylan Moore. Good to see. Julio, 2 for 5, 2 base hits. A double. Had a double down the line, and then the base hit that Again, not technically the game winner, but if Julio doesn't get the hit there, the Royals definitely are winning the game. So a huge hit for Julio. Good to see an extra base hit. Julio's been swinging the bat much better of late. Nice to see the double. I think that's most people. It's not that Julio hasn't been better the last month or so. I just want to see a little more slugging out of him. So good to see the double down the line from him and another hit. Garver was 0 for 4. Did have a walk. The walk in the 10th inning was good. Laid off some pitches, some tough pitches just outside the zone, and allowed Cal Raleigh to bat with the bases loaded and the Mariners to extend that lead. Again, crucial. And Garver swung a pretty good bat this series, so I'll give him a little bit of a pass for today. Cal was 2 for 5, 2 solid base hits. One started the rally in the 7th inning. The other proves to kind of be the game winner in the 10th. Mitch Haniger was 0 for 2 with a walk. I will say this, Haniger's walk was a really nice AB against Reagan's. I think it was in the 6th, and it forced his pitch count to, or maybe in the 5th. I think it was in the 5th. It looked like Reagan's might go 7 after 4. And that walk to Haniger was like a 10-pitch at-bat, really extended that pitch count for Reagan's. And I think was one of the reasons they got him out there after 6. Need to see more from Mitch Haniger. It's been a struggle. But, I try to point out positives even when guys are doing poorly. That was a nice at-bat for Mitch in that game. And crucial to get Reagan's out of there. Rayleigh came in as a defensive replacement, was 0 for 2. Tyler Locklear, 1 for 4 with a huge double that gave the Mariners the lead in the 7th inning in his major league debut. Listen, brutal news about Ty France, because Ty was absolutely locked in. Ty was dialed in. Truthfully, you can make a case of last month, he's probably been the Mariners' best hitter. And, a month and a half ago, I said, hey, get Tyler Locklear up here. Ty France, we'll see what happens. Maybe he's DFA'd, traded, whatever happens. But now I'm like, dang, I'm excited for Locklear. But Ty France was really, really swinging the bat well. So obviously it's a heel fracture for Ty. Sounds like they're thinking maybe a month. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that, to be honest. But it's definitely probably going to be August, I would think, before you see Ty again. Brutal break. Like I said, just feel gutted for Ty because he was really turning it around and giving himself a nice little season. But Tyler Locklear looks amazing in his debut at first base. First of all, he ended at bat in his second at bat. Reagan's kind of abused him in the first at bat. It's going to happen. In his second at bat, he hit one down the line foul that just missed being a double off Reagan's. And then later in that at bat, flew out to center field on a ball that was hit, I think 98 off the bat with a 410 expected batting average. And I think Mariner Sir made the point on Twitter. I don't want to take credit from him because I think he said it was a changeup. Had it been an inch up, maybe even half an inch, I think Locklear hits that pitch out. That's how close I think he was. And then he gets the huge RBI double in the 7th inning to score Mitch Haniger to give the Mariners the lead. Yes, the Mariners blew that lead, but at the time it was huge. And it still proved to be huge. He needed every run. So a great debut for Tyler Locklear. And then the great play at first base on the Isbell ground out. Bliss makes the great play. We've seen Bliss doesn't have the strongest arm, throws a great play to get to it, but throws it a little to the side. And Locklear just makes a fantastic stretch to keep his foot on the bag. And I feel like that's a play that usually the new guys won't make. They won't keep their foot in the bag, maybe a little nervous, you know what I mean, all that stuff. But veteran savvy and a veteran play by Tyler Locklear. Really impressed in his major league debut. Victor Robles was 0 for 1. I think he had a sacrifice bunt. Josh Rojas, 1 for 2 as a pinch hitter, including a big pinch hit single to give the Mariners that second run in the 7th inning to go up 3-1. And Ryan Bliss was 1 for 3 with an infield hit as well. So good to see Bliss still getting some at-bats here. Listen, I will say this. I don't think Jorge Polanco makes that play that Bliss does. Bliss's arm strength, not great. I thought the Garcia at-bat in the 10th might have been a double play with a little bit stronger arm, but Bliss is showing some good range. I think he's had some really good at-bats. I've been impressed with what we've seen from Ryan Bliss. Great win. Great win. Listen, you need every one of them in a season like this. You're fighting to win this division. Despite everything that went on in this series, everything that went on, you're still 5 games up. Now you come home for the White Sox. Not a very good baseball team, and that's going to be an understatement. Does that mean you're guaranteed to win 3 out of 4? Of course not. Of course not. But you've got a chance here now to do a little damage. Then Texas comes in. You can find a way to win that series and really start to push that lead. You really start to push it. And, frustrating series, yes. And it's funny, as frustrating as it was, the Mariners were not far away from winning 2 out of 3 or maybe even sweeping this series. A couple bounces go the other way. Mariners might have done that. Absolutely should have won on Friday, no doubt there. Yesterday, I think, you could debate a little bit, but, overall, like I said, get me out of Kansas City, and a nice W to finish it off today. Makes the food taste a little better, the plane ride a little better for the guys. Take it a little easy. Now you get home and hopefully you can do some damage against Chicago. That's one thing the team has done this year. And it's even something I gave them a little credit for last year. As much as the first half was frustrating last year, they never let it spiral. And this year, they've not been swept yet in a series. And that's how you avoid getting just into those kind of like dark places in a season. You know, you get swept today, you come home, you're a little lethargic. The White Sox have played a pretty good series against Boston. I think they've won 3 out of 4, split at least. You know, they come in, they get you game 1, and all of a sudden you've lost 4 in a row. And you're going, okay, how do we get this turned around now? Now Texas is 3 games back or whatever, Houston. And it can start to spiral out of control. So this team's done a nice job. They've lost some series, but they've avoided disasters. Would getting swept here have been a disaster? I don't think a disaster is the right word, but it would have been really tough. It would have been really tough. And now we can kind of look at the series and go, they had some moments there where they could have won it, done this, done that. So all in all, listen, I'll take it. I will take it. And of course, they win the game. Cole Reagan starts. It's typical Mariners. Have a great night, everybody. Look out for the game. Me and Mariners Sir with our podcast tomorrow morning, and I'll be back with the post-game recap for the White Sox game tomorrow night. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. Enjoy the Mariners win. Take care and go Mariners. Peace.